Those bastards. Thought the thick walls of this old house would hide their crime. But a forgotten camera in the living room revealed the monstrous face of the son I bore. While I was at church praying with all my faith, my son and his wife committed an act of such cruelty that the former owner, upon accidentally seeing it on his screen, called me trembling to warn me. In the middle of the rainy stormy night, I drove my car in the deepest rage, hearing a whisper on the other end. Don't say anything. Come alone, you have to see with your own eyes what they did to your papers. My name is Rose Miller and I'm 62 years old. My whole life has been tied to numbers. I was a bookkeeper for a small agricultural co-op in rural Pennsylvania. For 30 years I counted every bushel of corn. I counted every pound of coffee beans. I counted every hard-earned dollar of the farmers to enter it into the general ledger. The numbers never betrayed me. They are cold. They are exact, but people are not. I was widowed at 40. I raised my son alone. I saved every last cent, hiding it deep in the back of my closet. I deprived myself of meals so that Kevin, my son, could go to college with new shoes. I thought that was the sacrifice as an obligation. And when I sold my only house to buy this new one for my son and my daughter-in-law, I told myself only, the hardest part of my life is over. Thought it was my time to rest. I was wrong. I miscalculated the most important transaction of my life. Not with a calculator but with trust. Sunday morning. The new house in the suburbs still smelled of paint. A sharp artificial odor hit my nose and made it hard to breathe. The furniture was in disarray. Unopened cardboard boxes were piled in a corner of the living room, like anonymous tombs. We had just moved in a week ago. I stood in front of the mirror, adjusting my old wool cardigan. The collar was worn but it was clean. I put my wooden rosary around my neck. Footsteps echoed behind me, light but sharp. Going to church this early, Mom? It was Amanda, my daughter-in-law. She was leaning against the doorframe, holding a glass of orange juice. She wore an expensive cream-colored silk pajama set. Her voice wasn't exactly annoyed. It was sweet, a sweetness with an artificial sweetener. Yes, I'm going early to help the sisters, I replied. My voice was calm. Amanda didn't look at me. She looked at the wall clock. Make sure you're back before lunch. My mom's coming over. She doesn't like to wait to eat. Her mom, Carol. I clutched my rosary in my hand. I know. Kevin came out of the bedroom. My son saw me, but his gaze passed right over me, as if I were an old piece of furniture in the wrong place. Hey, Mom, he mumbled. Then he turned to his wife, wrapped his arm around Amanda's waist and laughed. Talking about the movie from last night. I stood there in the middle of the living room, in the house that was 70% paid for, with the sweat of my entire life. Yet I felt like an intruder. I went to the kitchen for some water and stopped dead in my tracks. Carol, Amanda's mother, was already there. She had arrived very early. She was opening my kitchen cabinets without permission, taking out the spice jars I had carefully organized, and putting them somewhere else. Hello, Rose, she said without turning to look at me. I'm just rearranging the kitchen for Amanda. The way it is now, it's very inconvenient. She took my salt shaker, placed it on the highest shelf, where I'd have to climb on a chair to reach it. So my daughter has it handy, she added. I wanted to say, that's my salt shaker, but I stayed silent. I calmed myself. She just wants what's best for her daughter. I'm old now, why fight? I swallowed the lump in my throat. Of course, feel free, I said. Then I quickly left through the door, escaping the oppression that was suffocating my chest. Noon, I left the church. The Pennsylvania sky was gloomy. Gray clouds hung over the rooftops. My phone vibrated. Unknown number. I pressed answer. Hello, silence on the other end. Just heavy raspy breathing, Mrs. Miller. Is that you? It is. Who's speaking? It's Mr. Peterson. The former owner of the house you just bought. Mr. Peterson, the kind man. Who sold his house to move back to his hometown. Hello, Mr. Peterson, I said. Is there a problem with the house papers? Kevin said everything was finalized. No, it's not the papers. He interrupted. His voice was rushed, trembling. Where are you? Are you with them, your son and his wife? No, I'm just coming from Mass. I heard a sigh of relief on the other end. Good, listen to me, Rose. Listen carefully. My heart started beating faster. I forgot to disconnect the security camera system. In the living room. It's still uploading data to my cloud account. This morning. I was going to log in to delete the account. I accidentally opened it to have a look. He fell silent. What did you see? I asked, my voice breaking. Rose, I saw something I shouldn't have seen. Something cruel. My hands turned to ice. Tell me I can't tell you over the phone, he whispered. And you mustn't tell your son. You mustn't tell your daughter-in-law. Why you have to come here right now? You have to see it with your own eyes. He emphasized every word. If you don't see it, you will live in hell for the rest of your life without knowing. Then he hung up. 3 phrases echoed in my head. Don't ask over the phone. Don't tell anyone. Come alone. I arrived home. The scene before my eyes was a stark contrast to the ghostly phone call. It was warm with a delicious smell of pot roast. Amanda was standing by the table. She saw me and gave me a radiant smile. You're back, Mom, just in time. The stew is ready. Carol was sitting on the sofa sipping wine. Kevin came out of the kitchen. He smiled kindly at me. Sit down, Mom, I bought those sweet rolls you liked today. Everything was too perfect, too normal. But now, seeing Amanda's smile, I felt a chill. Seeing Kevin's evasive glance, I felt fear. Was the church busy today, Mom? Amanda asked a trivial question. In my mind, Mr. Peterson's phrase appeared. You have to see it with your own eyes. I clenched my fists. I was a bookkeeper. I know how to stay calm in the face of incorrect figures. And my gut was screaming that this whole family was a miscalculation. Very busy, dear, I replied. Then, acting out a clumsy piece of theater, I slapped my forehead. Oh, how silly of me. I completely forgot. Sister Margaret asked me to buy candles for the afternoon service. I have to run to the store for a moment. I can get them this afternoon. Kevin offered. No, I said a bit too forcefully. I'll go. I'll be right back. Amanda looked at me. Her gaze lingered on my face for 2 seconds. Examining me. Hurry back, Mom. The food will get cold. I turned, walked out the door. Got into my old car and shut the door. I looked in the rearview mirror through the window. I saw Amanda's silhouette walking. She was smiling. Kevin was eating with his head down. A perfect family picture. But Mr. Peterson said it was hell. I turned the key. The engine roared. If what that man said is true, my entire life has been hanging in the balance. I pressed the accelerator. I drove off into the rain. If it were you, would you dare to drive alone? To face the terrible truth? Or would you go back home and pretend nothing happened? To maintain a false peace? I sat in the car. The engine still running. The windshield wipers made a constant thwack. Thwack sound against the glass. A monotonous dull noise. Like the ticking of a countdown clock. I didn't leave right away. My hand was on the gear shift, but I didn't engage it. I looked in the rearview mirror. The new house appeared in that small rectangular frame. The cold iron gate. The pots of yellow chrysanthemums Amanda had just bought. And through the living room window, I saw Amanda's silhouette pacing. She was holding a wine glass. She was smiling. Kevin's shadow passed by. His head bowed as submissive as a lamb. Mr. Peterson's 3 phrases echoed in my head. Sharp as a scalpel. Don't ask over the phone. Don't tell anyone. Come alone. A sense of precariousness washed over me. If I turn back, kill the engine and go inside. I still have a family. I'm still a mom. I still have the warm illusion of the pot roast. But if I accelerate, if I go there and what the old man said is true, I will lose everything. I was a bookkeeper my whole life. I understand the cruelty of numbers. A zero in the wrong place can destroy an entire company. But I never understood that people could calculate so coldly with their own mother. Why am I here? Why do I have to live with my son and daughter-in-law in a house that isn't in my name? The story began 2 years ago. My old house was in the town of Maple Creek. It was the only asset my husband had left me. A brick house with an orange tree in the yard. And a resplendent bougainvillea. I lived there for over 30 years. Then one night Kevin called. His voice sounded strained. Mom, the rent in the city went up. My salary is unstable, Amanda says. If we keep on like this, we'll never get ahead. I felt my heart sink. My son, the one I loved more than my own life, was suffering. Then Amanda took the phone. Her voice was as sweet as wildflower honey. Mom, we've done the math. How about you sell the house in town? Come live with us here. We'll buy a bigger house with a private room for you. You're getting older. If you're alone, who will take care of you if you get sick? If we have a stable place, then when we have grandchildren, you can hold them and be happy. A perfect picture. 3 generations living together. I hesitated. That house was my root. If you pull up the root, how does the old tree live? But then Kevin swore. The new house will be in my name. To make the bank loan easier. Because you're older and they won't give it to you. But your family, you're the owner. I swear on Dad's spirit that we will never abandon you. I believed him. The day I signed the papers to sell the old house, my hand trembled so much I couldn't hold the pen. The title company office was cold. I looked at that sum of money. It wasn't money. It was my flesh and blood. I transferred the entire amount to Kevin's account. $300,000. I'll handle it, he said. I smiled the smile of a foolish mother who believes her sacrifice will be repaid with love. After selling the house, we didn't get the new one right away. The 3 of us had to move into a cramped, rented apartment while we waited for the new house to be finished. It was 6 months of hell on earth. Or rather, a training camp Amanda designed for me. The apartment had 2 bedrooms. One for the couple. The other, Amanda said, would be an office and storage room. Because they had so much stuff. You'll have to sleep on the sofa, Mom. Amanda said, her eyes glued to her phone. It's just temporary. When we move into the new house, you'll have the nicest room. I nodded. Just temporary, I thought. But that sofa taught me my new place. I became a guest in my own family. Amanda started setting rules. Very politely but sharp as a razor. Mom, at 10 p.m. we need quiet to sleep. Don't turn on the TV, please. Mom, don't cook fish anymore. The smell gets into the curtains and it bothers me. The last straw was when Amanda said, Mom, give me your IDs and your insurance card. You leave them lying around. And if they get lost, it's a mess. I'm your daughter-in-law. I'll manage them for convenience. I gave them to her because Kevin was there. He nodded. Give them to my wife, Mom. She's very careful. At that moment I told myself. They're worried about me. Now that I think about it, I shudder. That wasn't concern. It was disenfranchisement. And then came the day we moved into the new house. Just a week ago. Amanda was excitedly taking pictures, recording videos for Facebook, writing syrupy captions. New home, complete happiness. Kevin sighed with relief. Finally, we're stable. I walked in, my heart pounding with joy. I thought about my room. I thought it would have a window overlooking the garden. But reality was a slap in the face. Amanda chose the upstairs master bedroom, with a large balcony. The second room, she said, would be for the future baby and a yoga studio. She took me downstairs to a small room, located right next to the laundry room and the garage. The window looked directly onto a gray concrete wall. This room is convenient for you, Mom. Amanda smiled, a smile that didn't reach her eyes. This way you don't have to climb stairs. It's dangerous for older people to go up and down. I stood in the middle of that room. It was half the size of my old bedroom. The sound of the washing machine, whirring through the wall, was clearly audible. I looked at Kevin. His head was down. He was pretending to look at his phone. That's when Carol started showing up. She would come to help clean. But really it was to cement her authority. She looked at my room and said, it's better this tidy. Old people don't need much space. I stayed silent. Ping. The sound of a text message brought me back to the present. I'm sitting in the car. The rain started to fall harder. I opened my phone. A message from Kevin. Mom, when you buy the candles, remember to get sugar-free milk. Amanda asked for it. I looked at the message, normal, impassive. He didn't know his mother was sitting here, with her heart about to burst from fear. He only cared about the candles and sugar-free milk for his wife. A cold anger began to seep into me. Not an explosion, but a freezing. I remembered Mr. Peterson's raspy voice. I saw what your son and his wife did. I turned off the phone screen. I gripped the steering wheel so hard. My knuckles turned white. I have closed my eyes for too long. If they really touched what they shouldn't have. If they are really calculating behind my back. This time Rose Miller will not be silent. I took a deep breath. I turned the key. The car vibrated. The windshield wiper swept the raindrops from the glass, opening a clear view ahead. I don't know what I'm going to see, I whispered. But I know one. If I turn back now, I will die of old age. In my own silence, I put the car in gear. The car moved forward, leaving the quiet, fake suburban street. I drove into the rain toward the naked truth. I didn't go directly to Mr. Peterson's house. The rain was falling harder now. The drops hitting the windshield forcefully, bursting into blurry streaks. The phone vibrated again. It was a message from Mom, come back soon. Amanda is reheating the stew. She says you like to eat it hot. I looked at that text, hot. A word so warm it was cruel. I turned off the phone. I sat motionless in the car for about 5 minutes. The sound of the rain enveloping me like a cocoon. Why did I turn back? Not because I feared the truth, but because I am a bookkeeper. Before drawing a conclusion about a massive loss, I need to check the receipts. I need to verify. Mr. Peterson might have seen one angle through the camera, but I needed to see the full picture. I wanted to give them one last chance. I started the engine, turned the car around, and went back to the gilded cage I had paid to build. Lunch passed in a strange atmosphere. On the surface it was perfect. Amanda smiled, talking about the new color for the living room. Kevin nodded along. Carol sat at the head of the table. The position that should belong to the lady of the house. She cut her piece of meat slowly, with a distinguished air. But I felt the pressure. It was heavy as lead. They sat me at the corner of the table, near the kitchen entrance. The place usually reserved for children or service staff. When there are guests. I ate my soup in silence. Mom, eat less salt, Amanda said suddenly. Her voice was gentle, but her hand quickly moved the salt shaker out of my reach. The doctor says for older people, eating salty food raises blood pressure. I worry about you. I stopped my spoon. I know my limits, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Carol put down her silverware. The metal hit the porcelain with a sharp clink. Your daughter is right, Rose. She looked at me over her reading glasses. When you get old, your sense of taste is poor. You tend to oversalt things. It's better to let the young people manage your portions. You just enjoy. Enjoy, she used that word with such a sarcastic tone. I looked at my bowl of soup. I felt like I wasn't eating with my family. I felt like an old doll placed in a display case. They dust her off, change her clothes, decide if she sits or stands. But she has no right to speak. I finished the soup. It was tasteless, but I swallowed it, because I needed strength for what was coming. After lunch I excused myself, saying I was tired, and went to my room, the small room on the ground floor. I closed the door, locked it. My heart started pounding. This was the moment of verification. I knelt beside the old oak dresser. This was where I kept the most important things of my life. The empty jewelry box, the family photo album, and most importantly a blue file folder. Inside were my retirement savings statements, the sales contract for the old house, the papers confirming I transferred $300,000 to Kevin. That was my life. I pulled the bottom drawer. It was empty. I froze. My eyes widened, staring at the dark space in the drawer. It can't be. I rummaged through the entire drawer, took out all my clothes, lifted the mattress. It was gone. The blue folder had vanished. The blood rushed to my face. My ears were ringing. I stood up. I ran out of the room. Amanda was sitting in the living room, reading a magazine. Carol was dozing in the armchair. Amanda, I yelled. My voice was trembling a little, but loud enough. She looked up calmly. What's the matter, Mom? Aren't you going to take a nap? My blue file folder. I stared at her. It was in the drawer of the wooden dresser. Where is it now? Amanda closed the magazine. She showed no surprise at all. She smiled. Oh, that messy pile of papers. I put it away. You put it away? I asked again, feeling as if someone had punched me in the chest. Why did you put it away without asking me? Amanda got up, walked over to me, put a hand on my shoulder. Her hand was cold. Mom, don't be angry. I saw you left the drawer open yesterday. The papers were spilling out. It's very dangerous. We just moved in. Workers are coming and going. What if someone takes them? I put them in the safe in our room, she continued. So they're secure. When you need them, just tell me and I'll get them for you. Those are my papers. I shook her hand off. Give them back to me right now. Amanda's face tensed slightly, a flash of coldness crossing her eyeliner-rimmed eyes. What's wrong with you, Mom? I'm just looking after them. You're forgetful. If you lose them, it'll be a hassle for us to have to replace them. I'm not forgetful, I said hoarsely. Give me the key to the safe. Kevin has the key, she shrugged. He went out to buy something to fix a pipe. Wait for him to get back. She was lying. This was the first time she had openly controlled my property. Without stealth. She was stripping me of my ownership rights. Right in front of me. I found Kevin on the back porch 15 minutes later. He was smoking. He had quit when he got married. But now he was smoking again. The smoke drifted lazily in the rain. I stepped outside. The cold wind hit my face. Kevin was startled. He quickly stubbed out the cigarette in a flower pot. "Mom, you're not resting yet." I walked up to him. Looked at the son who stood a head taller than me. "Your wife has my papers," I said. My voice had become deeper pained. "Are you aware of this?" Kevin avoided my gaze. He looked at the yard. "Amanda," she told me. "And you agree, Mom?" Kevin sighed a sigh full of weariness. "Amanda is just concerned about you. Those papers are important. It's right for them to be in the safe. Keeping them in that flimsy wooden dresser isn't secure. But I want to have them." I said, "It's my name. It's my money." Kevin turned to look at me. This time there was annoyance in his eyes. "Can you not make things difficult? Amanda is already so busy. Just let her organize things. You just need to rest. Why do you always have to cause trouble?" "'Cause trouble." I was demanding my own property. And my son called it causing trouble. I took a step back. An invisible distance suddenly opened between mother and son. Wide and deep. He was no longer on my side. He was an accomplice. "I see," I whispered. I turned and went back into the house. In the afternoon the sky darkened quickly. Carol was having tea in the living room with Amanda. I sat in the single armchair pretending to watch TV. But my ears were strained to listen. "I know someone who works at the Willow Creek Senior Living," Carol said. Her voice was casual but loud enough for me to hear. "It's an excellent place. They have 24-hour nurses. They serve you your meals and drinks." My heart clenched. Amanda sipped her tea. She nodded yes. "I've heard too, the elderly there get better medical attention than at home. Sometimes we're at work all day. If Mom falls or has a stroke, nobody would know." Kevin was sitting in a corner of the room, glued to his phone. He was silent. A silence of consent. They didn't ask me. They didn't talk to me. They talked about me as if I were already dead. Or an object with an expiration date. I said nothing. I got up, went to my room and sat on the edge of the bed. The room was dark. I looked at the old suitcase in the corner of the closet. It was the only thing that truly belonged to me at this moment. I asked myself a cruel question. If they kick me out tonight, where will I go? The old house is sold. The money is in their hands. The papers are in their safe. I cut off all my escape routes to build a path forward for my son. And now that path was leading straight into an abyss. I felt a primal fear seeping into every cell. Not just fear of losing the house, but fear of the truth. Fear of having raised and given birth to someone who was willing to throw his own mother out on the street in exchange for a false peace with his wife. My phone lit up in the darkness. I picked it up. My hand was no longer shaking. It was cold but steady. I found the number I had saved at. "Mr. Peterson," I sent him a short message. 3. I'm on my way. I got up. I put on my gray sweater. I wasn't just going to meet a former homeowner. I was going to meet the witness to the crime of my life. 8 p.m. I stood in front of the hallway mirror. I put on a little lip balm. I combed my gray hair. I looked at the woman in the mirror. She looked calm, but inside she was trembling like a dry leaf. I needed a reason to leave the house. I picked up my offering bag and my old Bible. "Where are you going at this hour, Mom?" Amanda's voice echoed from the staircase. It was sharp, cold like the sound of clashing metal. I turned around. Amanda was standing on the top step, looking down at me with the gaze of a jailer at a prisoner. "I'm going to Mrs. Davis's house," I said. My voice was soft, a little low. I borrowed her prayer book yesterday. I'm going to return it now. Kevin was sitting on the sofa watching TV. He didn't turn around. It's late, Mom, Amanda said, her eyes glancing at the dark window. It's dangerous for you to be out alone. Go tomorrow. Mrs. Davis is leaving on a pilgrimage early tomorrow morning. I lied, a smooth lie. I'll just be a moment. 15 minutes, that's all. Amanda was silent for a second. She was calculating. Be back quickly, she finally said. The door is double locked. I nodded. I walked out the door. As I went out to the garage, I felt a burning on the back of my neck. I looked up. Through the slit in the curtains of her bedroom window, Amanda was standing there. She was watching me. She wanted to make sure her prey didn't wander too far from the chain. Mr. Peterson's house was in the Elmwood district, an old neighborhood. The street lights were yellowish. I parked my car some distance from his house. I walked, sticking to the shadows. Mr. Peterson opened the door as soon as I knocked softly. The old man was wearing a worn-out sweater. His face was gaunt. He looked left then right then pulled me inside. Come in quick. The neighbors here are very nosy. His house smelled of tobacco and old paper. The lights in the living room were off. There was only a pale blue light coming from the computer screen. He pointed to a wooden chair. Sit down. I sat. My hands were clenched in my lap. Mr. Peterson, I said, my voice dry. Show me. The old man swallowed hard. His face was pained. I swear, Rose, I didn't mean to spy on that camera. I forgot to cancel the cloud storage plan. This morning I got an email saying the memory was full, so I logged in to delete it. You don't need to explain, I interrupted him. Show me what you saw. Mr. Peterson took the mouse, his hand trembling. Brace yourself, ma'am. What you're about to see is not something humans do to other humans. He pressed the play button. First video. Camera angle from the ceiling of my new living room. The picture was sharp. The clock showed the time Sunday, 8:30 a.m. It was right after I left the house for Mass. In the video, Kevin had just slammed the door behind me. He let out a heavy sigh. Amanda went to the liquor cabinet. She poured 3 glasses of tequila. The morning had just begun. Carol sat in the main armchair, the chair where I used to knit. She took a yellow paper envelope from her purse. Threw it on the table with a dull dry sound. Is the old woman gone? Carol asked. Yes, she's gone to church, Amanda scoffed. The old Bible thumper can pray all she wants. She'll still end up with nothing. Kevin walked over. Took a glass of liquor and drank it in one gulp. Carol pointed to the envelope. She sold the old house. The money is in Kevin's account now. She has no escape. The fish is on the cutting board. Amanda sipped her drink, her eyes gleaming terrifyingly. She just needs to sign that power of attorney and that's it. Everything will be legal. In the video, Kevin put down the glass. His voice trembled slightly. What if Mom finds out? She was a bookkeeper for many years. She's not stupid. Amanda turned to look at her husband. Her gaze was like looking at a dog scared of thunder. What is your mom going to find out? The original documents are in my possession. The money is in your name. She's old. Who's going to believe her? I was sitting in front of the computer screen. My tears didn't fall. They froze into hard stones in my sockets. They weren't planning to live with me. They were planning to devour my life. Second video. Time, last Friday night. Amanda and Carol were sitting together at the table. Amanda took out a paper with a bold title, Power of Attorney. Carol pointed her ringed finger at the fine print. This allows you to sign for her at the bank. Once she signs this, you can transfer her pension, her savings to a family management account without her being present. Amanda nodded. I'll tell her it's an administrative document for the neighborhood. She doesn't know much legal English. She's only good at counting coffee beans. I bit my lip until it bled. I was a bookkeeper for 30 years. I know the tax laws by heart. But they thought I was an ignorant old woman from the countryside. Third video. This was the video that made my stomach turn. I felt nauseous. Amanda was holding a promotional brochure, Willow Creek Senior Living. She read aloud, Cognitive Decline Section. Kevin was watering a plant in the corner of the room. He turned around. Mom's not senile, is she? She's still sharp, honey. Carol laughed, a screeching laugh through the computer speakers. Sharp or not is decided by the doctor and reported by the guardian. She stood up, paced the room like a vulture. You just have to say she's forgetful. Say she panics easily. You have to build a medical history little by little. A few months will be enough to get a doctor's signature. Amanda continued, her voice icy. We put her in there, she'll be taken care of. We'll be debt-free and we can turn the downstairs room into your gym. Kevin was silent. He stood there, the watering can in his hand. He was silent for a long time. Then he sighed. Don't go too far. Mom's feelings will be hurt. Amanda walked over. Grabbed Kevin by the collar and stared at him. If you're worried about your mom's feelings being hurt, then you'll lose the house. Do you want to go back to that old rented apartment? Do you want your child to be born into poverty? Kevin lowered his head. Fourth video. Time, last night. Amanda was sitting alone, holding a white piece of paper. She was holding my pen, writing something. She wrote the letter R, then a long stroke at the end. It was my signature. Carol was behind her, leaning over to see. Almost there. The final stroke needs to be a little more curved. Amanda smiled. I've been practicing all week. If we're in a hurry, I'll just sign for her. No one will notice. I watched my daughter-in-law's hand, the hand I once held on her wedding day. Now she was practicing how to steal my identity. And then the most painful moment came. Kevin walked by. Saw his wife practicing his mother's signature. He stopped, looked at the paper. He didn't shout. He didn't snatch the paper to tear it up. He just looked, then nodded. A very slight nod. But it was heavier than 1,000 stab wounds to my heart. The screen went black. Mr. Peterson had pressed stop. That's enough, Rose, he said, his voice trembling. I sat motionless. My entire body was numb. I no longer felt nauseous. The nausea had passed, giving way to a terrifying clarity. The cold clarity of a corpse. The son I raised with milk and tears was dead. The man in that video was just an accomplice, a coward who sold his mother for greed and fear. Mr. Peterson, I said, my voice sounding like grinding stones. Can you copy all these videos for me? Yes, of course. I've already downloaded them all. He took out a small black USB drive. I took the USB. It was small, cold, but it contained the evidence of the collapse of my life. I opened my purse. Took out my small notebook and my pen, the inseparable tools of a bookkeeper. I started taking notes. Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Discussion of asset stripping plan. Kevin, complicit. Friday, 6:20 p.m. Plan to falsify medical history. Last night, 10:15 p.m. Forgery practice, Amanda executes, Carol instructs. My handwriting trembled on the first line, but by the third it was straight, sharp. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. You just saved my life. I drove back home. 10 p.m. I stopped at a 24-hour convenience store. I bought a large bag of candles and a box of sweet rolls. I needed props for my performance. I arrived home. The living room light was still on. Amanda was sitting on the sofa filing her nails. Kevin was reading the newspaper. You're back late, Mom, Amanda said without looking up. Your 15 minutes lasted almost 2 hours. I put the bag of candles on the table. I sighed, feigning the fatigue of an old woman. Mrs. Davis kept me talking for a long time, just complaining that her children don't visit her. I felt bad interrupting. Amanda stopped filing her nails. She looked at me, her eyes scrutinizing, looking for any sign of abnormality. I looked back at her. I smiled, a kind, resigned smile. Well, I'm going to my room. I'm very tired. Amanda narrowed her eyes, then her face relaxed. Sure, get some rest. Oh, Mom, I stopped. My heart skipped a beat. Yes, dear, about the papers today, don't worry about it, okay? I'm just looking out for you. She was testing me. She was casting the line to see if the fish would bite. I lowered my head, feigning remorse. Yes, I know, I was a bit impulsive this afternoon. I'm sorry, dear. If you think it's best, you take care of it for me. Amanda smiled. This time it was a triumphant smile. See, Mom, isn't it better to think that way? I went to my room, closed the door. I didn't turn on the light. I hid the USB drive in my empty box of heart pills. I pushed it deep into the back of my underwear drawer. I put my notebook between the pages of the Bible. I sat on the bed. I didn't sleep. My ears listened for every movement in this house. 11 p.m. I heard footsteps upstairs and then a familiar sound. The sound of a printer. Then the rustling of paper. I remembered the video. She just needs to sign that and it's done. They were printing the documents. They were preparing for tomorrow's performance. They thought I had given up. They thought the fish was lying still on the cutting board, waiting for the knife. I gripped the edge of the bed with my hands. Keep printing, I thought. Print it out so that later, I can use that very same paper to throw you out of my life. It had begun. This war was no longer a hypothesis. Tomorrow morning, they would put that paper in front of me and I would have to sign. But I wouldn't sign with ink. I would sign with a trap. The next morning, the house was silent, a deathly silence. I woke up at 5:30, an old person's habit. But today I lay still, staring at the ceiling. I was rehearsing the greatest role of my life. I left the room. A delicious smell hit me. The smell of pancakes and bacon, of fried eggs, of coffee with cinnamon. Amanda was in the kitchen, wearing an apron, her hair tied back. She saw me and turned. Good morning, Mom. Her voice was sweet, so sweet it sent shivers down my spine, like the bitter aftertaste of sweetener that lingers in your throat. She pulled out a chair for me. I made your favorite today. Sit down, eat it while it's hot so it tastes good. Carol was also there, wearing a gaudy floral dress, sipping tea. Her face was as cheerful as if there had been no dark plans last night. You're awake, Rose. Eat up, Amanda got up early to cook for you. I sat down. I looked at the plate of food, fluffy pancakes drenched in syrup, the dish of family ties. But today, it looked like a condemned prisoner's last meal. Kevin passed through the kitchen, dressed in formal office attire. He didn't dare look at me. He hastily grabbed a piece of toast. I'm heading to work, Kevin, I called out. He stopped in his tracks, his shoulders stiff. Come home early, I said. He nodded quickly, then rushed out the door as if he were being chased. My phone vibrated. A message from Mom. Stay home today. Amanda will take you to sort out some paperwork to get it finished. Leaving it for too long is a problem. I finished reading. A chill ran down my spine. So it had begun. 9 a.m. Amanda, dressed elegantly, putting on strong perfume. Get changed, Mom. We're going to stop by the notary's office. For a moment, I feigned surprise. The notary again? I thought everything was done. Amanda smiled gently, stroking my arm. Not yet, Mom. There's still the residency confirmation form and a few little things. It'll be quick. If we don't go, the IRS will find us. The IRS, she knew that's what I feared most, owing the government. She attacked the weak point of an old bookkeeper. Carol stood up. I'll go with you to keep you company. I can stop by the market for some flowers on the way. They cornered me in the middle. In the car, Amanda played soft music. Mom, give me your phone so I can charge it, she said, holding out her hand. Your battery is low, see? I looked at the battery bar, it was at 80%. But I gave it to her. I needed to be obedient. Take it, I said. Amanda put my phone in her purse. I lost contact with the world. Notary office number 4, cold. The air conditioning hummed. It smelled of paper and ink and money. It wasn't the normal reception desk. Amanda took me directly to a private office. It seemed she had made an appointment and greased some palms. The notary was a middle-aged, bald man wearing thick glasses. On the table, there was already a file folder. It wasn't a residency confirmation. I glanced at the titles of the papers, my eyes blurred, but my brain registered every word with precision. Comprehensive power of attorney, allowing management of bank accounts, transfer of real estate, legal representation, and another paper underneath, medical authorization. Amanda pushed the pen towards me. Mom, sign here and here. I took the pen. My hand was really shaking. I didn't need to act. This is a lot, I murmured. Why a power of attorney? I can still go to the bank myself. Amanda leaned close to my ear. The smell of her perfume made me nauseous. Sign it, Mom, you're old now. Why go out in the sun and get tired? Let me do it for you quickly. Don't you trust me? But I want to read it, Carol gently tapped the table. Why read it and strain your eyes? It's all legal jargon. Just sign quickly. People have work to do. The notary looked at his watch, showing impatience. Mrs. Miller, this is a standard procedure for the elderly so their children can take care of them. I looked at him. He was also part of this setup. I want to call Kevin, I said, putting the pen down on the table. Amanda's face darkened. He's in a meeting. Don't bother him. I'm not signing if Kevin isn't here. I was testing her limits. Amanda leaned close to my ear again. This time her voice wasn't sweet. It hissed between her teeth. Sign it now, you don't have the old house anymore. You gave me all the money. If you don't sign, go live on the street and see who takes care of you. Then there it was, her true face. She took off the mask so fast I didn't have time to blink. They weren't just greedy, they were cruel. They knew I had no escape. I looked at Carol. She was crossing her arms, smiling contemptuously. Sign it, Rose, don't let your children despise you. The notary looked at me suspiciously. Is there a problem? Amanda turned to him, sighing regretfully. Excuse me, my mother hasn't been very lucid lately. She tends to have delusions. The doctor also said we should limit her worries. Carol nodded in support. That's right, poor my daughter Amanda. It's so hard to take care of a mother-in-law with dementia. Dementia, delusions, not lucid, those words were like direct slaps to my face. They were stripping me of my dignity in front of a stranger. They were turning me from a sharp bookkeeper into a senile old woman, a social burden. The humiliation rose in my throat, bitter. This was the final straw. They didn't just want my money, they wanted to erase my existence as an independent person. I wanted to grab the paper and tear it up in their faces. I wanted to scream, but I remembered my notebook from last night. I remembered Mr. Peterson's. You have to have proof. If I exploded now, I would just be a crazy old woman screaming in a notary's office, exactly their script. I had to swallow the hatred. I bowed my head, my shoulders trembling. Okay, I stammered. I'll sign, I'm sorry. Amanda smiled triumphantly. She winked at her mother. I took the pen, but I didn't sign immediately. I need to use the restroom for a moment, I said, clutching my stomach. My stomach hurts a lot. I think it was the sauce this morning. Amanda scowled. Make it quick. The phone, I pointed to her purse. Lend me the phone. I'm afraid it's dark in there. I need the flashlight. A silly excuse, but plausible for someone senile. Amanda clicked her tongue, took out my phone and gave it to me. Just 5 minutes, Mom. I took the phone, ran to the bathroom, locked the door. I dialed the number as fast as I could. Lawyer Howard Crane. It rang twice. Hello, Crane Law Office, how can I help you? This is Rose Miller. Mr. Peterson recommended you. I'm at Notary Office number 4. They are forcing me to sign a total power of attorney and a medical document. What should I do? I spoke quickly, my breath ragged. The man's voice on the other end was cold but steady. Do not sign the medical document, absolutely not. As for the power of attorney, if you don't sign, you are in immediate danger. They are threatening to kick me out onto the street. All right, sign the power of attorney, but make a mistake in the stroke or sign it badly to have a reason to dispute it later. Most importantly, after signing, you must see me immediately to process the revocation. Your signature under duress will be the best evidence. If we have witnesses. I understand, remember, do not sign the medical document. Say you don't have your glasses, that you can't read the fine print by time. Thank you, lawyer. I deleted the call. I splashed my face with cold water, looked at myself in the mirror. My eyes were red. You can do this, Rose. You've counted millions of bushels of corn. You will count the days of their downfall. I went out, I signed the power of attorney. My signature was shaky. I tried to tear the paper a little at the end. When it was time for the medical document, I squinted. The print is too small, I complained. My eyes are blurry. I can't see anything. Amanda pushed the pen closer. Just sign where I tell you. No, I shook my head. I don't sign what I can't read. Your father warned me about that. Signing blindly is asking for trouble. I acted like a stubborn old woman. The notary started to get impatient. Other clients were waiting outside. All right, he said. The power of attorney is done. The medical document can be added later. If she can't read, she can't be forced. Amanda gritted her teeth. She shot me a death glare. But she already had the power of attorney. She thought that was enough. Fine, let's go. She took the paper from the table, folded it. I stood up. My legs were unsteady, but my heart was solid as a rock. They thought they had won. But they had just received a time bomb. In the car on the way home, the atmosphere was noticeably more relaxed for them. Of course, Amanda sang along with the radio. Carol talked about buying new curtains. We need to change those red velvet curtains to make it look elegant, she said. Yes, with the money Mom will transfer, there'll be plenty. Amanda laughed. I sat in the back seat silently, looking out the window. Pennsylvania was still beautiful, but sad. They treated me as if I didn't exist or like a dairy cow from which all the milk had been extracted. Now they were just waiting for the day to take it to the slaughterhouse. Mom, Amanda called, her voice sweet again. Rest at home, you were very obedient today. Obedient, she used that word with me as if talking to a dog. Yes, I replied. I'm a little tired. I think I'll sleep for a while. When we got home, I played the role of the exhausted old woman. I went straight to my room. I closed the door, but I didn't sleep. I waited. 2 p.m. Amanda went out to get her nails done. Carol went home. The house was empty. I left immediately. I didn't use my car, it was too easy to spot. I took a taxi from the corner to the Crane Law Office downtown. Howard Crane's office was small, on the second floor of an old building, with no flashy signs. Inside, it was filled with law books stacked to the ceiling. Howard Crane was in his 42s, slim with penetrating eyes, dressed formally but without ostentation. He looked at me, didn't smile. "Mrs. Miller, have a seat." I put Mr. Peterson's USB drive on the table and my notebook too. "I need you to help me get my life back." Howard plugged the USB into the computer, quickly reviewed the videos. His expression didn't change but his brow furrowed. "Abuse of trust," he said, his voice clear. "Elder fraud and coercion to sign legal documents." He looked at me. "I signed the power of attorney this morning, but I signed worse than usual and I signed while I was incommunicado from my phone." "Good, we will file a petition with the court to declare that document null and void." "But not now, why?" I asked impatiently. "They could take all my money right now. If you sue now, they will say you did it voluntarily. They have witnesses at the notary, bribed, and her mother. You will lose." Howard leaned forward. "We need them to commit the criminal act. We need them to use that paper to strip you of your assets. At that moment, the trap will close." "You mean I have to let them take the money?" "No, you will go to the bank right now as the account holder, request a statement of account and most importantly, register for transaction notification service via text message banking on this secret phone number." He handed me a prepaid SIM card. "And do one more thing, ask the bank to note in your file that you suspect fraud and require dual authentication for any large transaction." "They are building the cage for you," Howard said, his eyes glinting. "We will close the cage from the outside when they are already inside." I understood, this was an accounting procedure to catch an embezzler. You have to let them make the transaction. I went to the bank. I did everything Howard instructed. I requested the statement for the last 6 months. I discovered a strange transfer, $500 to a spa. The beneficiary's name was a friend of Amanda's. I shuddered, it was my retirement savings. I clutched the statement, didn't make a scene. I put it in my new notebook, the Ledger of Vengeance. I asked the bank staff to install the highest security. If someone uses the power of attorney to make a transaction, let them process it but delay the transfer order and notify me, I said. The employee looked at me, surprised, but nodded. I got home before Amanda returned. I went back to my role as the resigned mother. 5 p.m., Amanda returned, humming happily. I was in the kitchen, cleaning vegetables. "You're back, your nails are pretty," I complimented her. Amanda held out her hand. "Aren't they, Mom? This color is in fashion." I looked at that hand, the hand that had signed my pain. "Amanda," I said, my voice hesitant. "I thought about it today at the notary's. I see you were right." Amanda stopped, looked at me. "Yes, I'm getting old. My eyes are failing, my hands shake. Keeping those property and savings papers worries me. How about I also give you the deeds to the farmland in town for you to keep?" Amanda's eyes lit up like car headlights. "Really, Mom, you still have land in town? 2 small plots rented out for farming?" I was thinking of keeping them, but well, I'll leave them for you to manage, to make it easier. I was casting the bait, a juicy morsel to make her confident, to make her think I had completely given up. "Yes, I'll keep them. I'll put them in the safe, absolute security." Her voice trembled with excitement. "Let me look for the papers this weekend. I hid them so well I even forgot where." Amanda hugged me. "You're the best. Tonight, I'll tell Kevin we should go out to dinner at a restaurant." I let her hug me. The hug was cold. I looked over her shoulder at the kitchen shelf. My old phone was there, face down. The recording mode was on. It had recorded all of Amanda's excited greed. Dinner that night was at a fancy restaurant. Kevin seemed surprised by his wife's cheerful attitude. "Mom agreed today to give me all her papers to manage," Amanda boasted, stroking her wine glass. Kevin turned to look at me, his gaze was complex, a little relieved, a little tormented. Mom, are you sure? I cut a piece of steak, the meat was red. Of course, son, I trust both of you. I just need a place to rest in my old age. Carol sat opposite, smiling. That's the spirit, Rose. Why do old people want to hold on to things? You can't take them with you when you die. I smiled, true. When I die, I can't take them with me, but while I'm alive, things need to be clear. My sentence made the atmosphere tense for a second, but they were too drunk on their victory to notice the irony. That night, back home, I lay in bed. I opened my notebook. Evidence No. 1, camera video, ready. Evidence number 2, coerced power of attorney, I have the copy. Evidence No. 3, bank statement with fraudulent transactions, ready. Evidence number 4, audio file of Amanda's greed, ready. I was only missing one more thing, a criminal act caught in the act, and I knew it was coming. I heard Amanda talking on the phone in the next room. Either the wall wasn't well insulated or the night was too quiet. Go to the bank early tomorrow, use that power of attorney to transfer all her savings to our account. She's already agreed. Yes, do it quickly before she changes her mind. My heart pounded. Tomorrow they would act, tomorrow. I sent a message to Howard. Tomorrow, downtown branch of the bank, 9 a.m. Howard replied immediately, received. The trap is set. Prepare for the best performance of your life. I turned off the phone. I looked at the dark ceiling. Tomorrow, either I lose everything or I teach them a lesson about the value of the word family. The next morning, 7:30. I was watering the plants in the yard. Crystal water droplets sat on the rose leaves. The front door burst open. Amanda came out, her face wasn't as made up as usual, she had dark circles under her eyes. Last night's euphoria had turned into a frantic impatience. She was carrying her purse, the car keys, and a thick folder. Mom, she called, her voice rushed. The bank called, they said there's an opening in their schedule this morning, let's go immediately. I stopped my hand, the hose was still dripping water. This morning, I thought next week, they have an audit next week. Amanda lied, she lied worse than a 3-year-old, but greed had blinded her. Let's go right away so we don't miss the opportunity. I took the day off work. Carol also appeared in the living room, she had arrived without my noticing, like a vulture smelling a corpse. Go quickly, Rose, I'll accompany you for protection. It's dangerous to carry important documents on the street these days. Kevin was leaning against the door frame, holding a cup of coffee, his hand was trembling slightly, he avoided my gaze. They were speeding up the process, they were afraid I would change my mind or afraid the night was long and would bring trouble. I turned off the hose. All right, I said. Let me just change my blouse. I went to my room. I didn't change my blouse. I just put the secret phone Howard gave me in my inner pocket and a small piece of paper with the transaction number I requested yesterday. I looked at myself in the mirror. Calm down, Rose, you're going into the tiger's den, but you are the hunter. The downtown bank branch was crowded, noisy, the sound of money counting machines, the cold smell of paper currency. Amanda didn't take a number, she pulled me directly to the VIP window where she had made an appointment with a familiar employee. The employee's name was Megan, bright red lipstick. Hi, Paula, she smiled, she looked at me. This is my aunt, my mother-in-law, Amanda said, putting the folder on the counter with a thud. Let's do the title change and the total power of attorney like I told you yesterday. Yes, I stood still, my 2 hands clutching my old purse. Megan typed on the computer. Rose Miller, she read my name, the current balance. Wow. That's a considerable amount. Amanda and Carol exchanged a look, their eyes gleamed. That's right, Amanda urged. Print the transfer order to my husband and my joint account. Megan pressed enter, then stopped dead. The screen showed a red error box. Oh, Megan frowned. The system reports the account is restricted due to a security change. My heart pounded, Howard's and my trap had worked. What restriction? Amanda shouted. It was fine yesterday. Megan looked at me, then at Amanda. A dual authentication request was activated yesterday afternoon. It requires the account holder to confirm with a fingerprint and a voice password. Amanda's face turned white. She turned to me. Mom, did you do something yesterday? I feigned confusion, blinking repeatedly. I don't know, I just came here to get a statement, maybe they pressed something wrong. Carol intervened. Just mistakes, call the manager. The situation started to get tense, people around us began to watch. Amanda couldn't wait for the manager, she took out the power of attorney I had signed yesterday at the notary's. Here it is, she slapped the paper on the glass. I have a power of attorney, notarized, my mother signed, she agrees to the money transfer, just do the transaction, my mom is old, she's not going to remember any voice password. She turned to me, her gaze like she wanted to eat me alive. Mom, tell them you agree to transfer the money to my account, right? This was the decisive moment. I looked at the employee, then at Amanda. I started to tremble, this time it was acting, but the fear was real. I don't know, I stammered. It's a lot of money, I thought I was just signing so you could get money for groceries. What are you saying, Mom? Amanda hissed. She grabbed my arm, squeezing hard, it hurt. You promised me last night. Carol came close to me, whispering threats. Old woman, don't be stubborn here, sign to confirm quickly or don't complain when we get home. Open threat, I flinched, it hurts, let go of my arm, I yelled, loud enough for people in the waiting area to hear. A security guard started to approach. Amanda, seeing this, quickly let go of me, but she didn't give up. She took out her phone, called someone. Are you here? Come to window 5 immediately, quick. 2 minutes later, a man in a shiny suit walked in. He was carrying a leather briefcase. He looked like one of those financial managers. He went straight to Amanda, whispered something to her, then turned to the employee, Megan, speaking arrogantly. I am the family's financial advisor. The lady has mild cognitive decline. The account restriction is an error. We demand the transaction be executed according to the legal power of attorney. Amanda immediately added. That's right, my mom is getting senile. Sometimes she remembers, sometimes she forgets. Leaving the money in her account is very dangerous. She might accidentally transfer it to a stranger. Cognitive decline. They use the same trick, humiliating me in public. The employee Megan was confused. She looked at me with pity. Ma'am, do you confirm? I looked at the strange man, at Amanda, at Carol. They formed a wall surrounding me. I took a deep breath. I want to go to the bathroom, I said. I feel dizzy, the bathroom again. Amanda screamed. She had lost control. Sign now and then you can go wherever you want, miss. An older man sitting in the waiting area raised his voice. Why are you yelling at your mother like that? Amanda turned to glare at him. This is my family's business. Stay out of it. Taking advantage of the commotion, I backed away. I need to see the manager, I said loudly, with more force than my previous trembling. I don't understand why my daughter wants to take all my money. That sentence was like a bomb exploding in the bank. All transactions stopped. The branch manager, a serious man, came out. What is going on here? Amanda paled, her plan for a quick strike had crumbled. The financial manager, seeing the manager, backed away, fearing trouble. Sir, I said, pointing at Amanda, my daughter-in-law is forcing me to transfer the money. I don't want to transfer it. This account is for my retirement. The manager looked at the power of attorney, then at me. If the account holder is present here and refuses the transaction, this power of attorney is temporarily invalidated. At this moment, he turned to Amanda. Please leave, or I will call the police. Amanda was paralyzed. Her face turned red, then white. She gave me a look of visceral hatred. She grabbed the file folder. Let's go, she hissed. In the car on the way home, no one said a word. A deadly silence enveloped the car. I was in the back. I didn't dare look in the rearview mirror. I knew Amanda was staring at me, and that look was a death sentence. When we got home, Kevin ran out to meet us. His face showed anticipation. He must have thought she already had the money. But seeing his wife's face, his smile vanished. Amanda threw her purse on the sofa, turned, and pointed at me. "You cunning old woman," she said, no longer calling me Mom. "You did it on purpose, didn't you? You acted out in the bank to humiliate me, didn't you?" I leaned against the wall, still maintaining an appearance of fear. I needed them to let their guard down a little more. I was just scared. There were so many people. "Don't lie," Carol screamed. "You're stingy. You don't want to let go of the money." Amanda walked up to me. "Fine, keep your money. But in this house, you no longer have the right to live." She turned to Kevin. "You go in and pack your mother's things right now." Kevin was stunned. What are you saying? Where is Mom going?" "I don't care where. To a nursing home, under a bridge, or back to the pigsty in town. I'm not living with this traitor for another minute." Kevin looked at me, then at his wife. He stood frozen. "Kevin!" Amanda screamed. "Choose your mother or your wife and children." I looked at my son. He lowered his head and walked towards my room. He started to take out my suitcase. My heart broke. This time it was for real. It was no longer a test. My son was really kicking me out. I went into the room. Kevin was throwing my clothes into the suitcase. His hand was shaking. Tears were falling down his face, but he kept doing it. "I'm sorry, Mom," he whispered. "Just leave for a little while until Amanda calms down." I grabbed his hand. "No, son, don't pack." "No," I said. My voice suddenly became strangely firm. "I am not going anywhere, at least not tonight." I looked at the clock. 5 p.m. "Let me get my things in order," I said. "I will leave tomorrow morning. Let me sleep one last night. I'm very tired." I went out to the living room. Amanda was drinking liquor. "I want you gone before 8 tomorrow," she said coldly. I nodded. "All right, tomorrow it will all be over." I went to my room, locked the door. I sent a message to Howard. They ordered me to leave. Kevin agreed, tomorrow at 8 a.m. Howard replied immediately. "Excellent. The act of abuse is complete. I will be there with a court officer tomorrow morning. Prepare the stage." I looked at the ceiling. Tomorrow was Judgment Day. That night was the longest of my life. I heard Amanda and Carol laughing and talking in the living room until late, celebrating prematurely. They thought they had gotten rid of the burden. Kevin slept on the sofa. I heard his uneven breathing, now and then a suppressed sob. But that sob could no longer save his soul. 5 a.m. I got up, took a shower, put on my best suit, the black pantsuit I wore when I received an award for outstanding work at the co-op. I combed my hair carefully. I didn't pack my clothes in the suitcase. I took all of Kevin's clothes out of my closet. He had left some old suits. I threw them into the hallway. I put my laptop on the living room table. I connected it to the large screen TV with an HDMI cable. I hid the laptop behind the large vase. 6 a.m. I opened the front door. I called Mrs. Davis, my friend from church. "Eleanor, please come get the candles. I'm tired today and won't be able to go to Mass. Come have some tea while you're here. I have something to tell you." Eleanor agreed immediately. She is an enthusiastic person, and most importantly, she's the radio of this whole neighborhood. 7 a.m. The family woke up. Amanda came downstairs. Seeing me sitting in the living room, drinking tea with the unpacked suitcase, she frowned. "You haven't left yet?" I said at 8, I put down the teacup. I'm waiting for a friend to pick something up. After she leaves, I'll leave. Hurry up, Amanda said with a flick of her head. Don't try to buy time. Carol also came out in her pajamas, looking sleepy but full of satisfaction. Kevin was the last. His eyes were swollen. 7:15. The doorbell rang. Mrs. Davis arrived. Amanda was startled. She quickly fixed her hair, put on a fake smile. She didn't want a stranger to see her kicking out her mother-in-law. Hello, Eleanor, Amanda said sweetly. Come in. Eleanor entered cheerfully. Hello everyone. Rose, are you all right? I stood up, leaning on the chair, feigning weakness. I'm so. Sit down, Eleanor. I looked at Amanda. Amanda, could you bring me the box of candles, please? Amanda gritted her teeth, but in front of a guest, she had to act. She went to the kitchen. At that moment, I began to release the truth. Eleanor, I said, my voice trembling, tears welling up. I think this is the last time I'll see you. In a little while, I have to leave. Eleanor was shocked. Leave? You just moved in. My children, I looked at Kevin. They want me to go to a nursing home or go back to town. This house is too small, and I'm a burden. What? Eleanor exclaimed. Kevin, is that true? Your mother sold her house to buy this for you. Kevin lowered his head. Amanda ran out of the kitchen. She couldn't act anymore. Rage made her lose her mind. Eleanor, don't listen to this senile old woman. She's delusional. We're just concerned about her. She turned to me, forgetting Eleanor was there. You lying old woman, you're trying to embarrass me in front of the neighbors. Sign this paper and then go wherever you want. She took out the voluntary departure agreement she had prepared last night. Sign here, confirm you are leaving of your own free will, with no property disputes. After you sign, I'll give you money for your bus ticket. Carol also joined in. Sign it quickly, Rose. Don't make your children have to use force. Then you'll say they are bad children. Eleanor was speechless. She saw the naked cruelty with her own eyes. My God, how can you people shut up? Amanda screamed at Eleanor. This is a family matter. Just then, 7:30. The doorbell rang again. This time a long, loud ring. Kevin opened the door. Standing at the door was Howard Crane, dressed in a black suit with a briefcase in hand, and with him were 2 police officers and a court officer. Kevin stumbled back, pale as death. Howard walked straight into the living room. The atmosphere froze. The paper fell from Amanda's hand. Who gave you permission to enter?" she stammered. Howard didn't answer her. He walked up to me. "Mrs. Rose Miller," he said loudly, clearly. "I am your legal representative. We have come to execute an emergency court order." "What order?" Carol shrieked. "She's crazy, she has no right to hire a lawyer." Howard took out a document with red seals. "Order to freeze all assets related to Mrs. Miller, restraining order, and temporary eviction order for the individuals who have committed elder abuse in this very house." "This house is in my husband's name," Amanda screamed. "It is in your husband's name, but the money is Mrs. Miller's," Howard replied coldly. "And we have proof that you attempted to defraud and dispossess her." "Proof? Don't lie." Amanda was still trying to argue. I stood up. I was no longer trembling. I went to the vase, took out the laptop, and took the TV remote. "The proof is right here," I said, my voice ringing out as clear as a judge's gavel. I pressed play. The 65-inch TV screen lit up. Video, the scene of Amanda mocking on Sunday morning. She just needs to sign that, and it's done. The old Bible thumper can pray all she wants. She'll still end up with nothing. The whole room fell silent. Only the sound from the TV echoing. Mrs. Davis covered her mouth. Kevin stared at the screen, then at his wife. Video 2, the scene with Carol. Take her to the nursing home. Say she's forgetful, that she panics easily. Video 3, the scene of Amanda practicing my signature. I've been practicing all week. If we're in a hurry, I'll just sign for her. No one will notice. And finally, Video 4, the scene of Kevin nodding as he watched his wife practice forging his mother's signature. The video ended. The screen went dark. But the truth was exposed, bright and cruel. Amanda collapsed onto the sofa. She could no longer deny it. Her voice, her image, too clear. Carol was trembling, leaning against the wall. Kevin knelt on the floor, covering his head. I walked to the center of the room. I stared at Amanda. You called me delusional. I threw my medical history folder, from a secret checkup I had last week on Mr. Peterson's advice to prove my legal capacity, onto the table. I am completely lucid. The doctor confirmed my nerves are better than yours. I turned to Kevin. This was the most painful moment. Kevin, I called him. He looked up, his eyes filled with tears. I sold my house for you. I deprived myself of meals for you. And you really plan to put me in a nursing home? The question was soft, but it had the power of an atomic bomb. I'm sorry. I was wrong, Kevin sobbed, the cry of a lost child. But it was too late for comfort. Amanda suddenly jumped up, lunging at me like a cornered animal. The two police officers immediately restrained her. Handcuffs clicked around her thin wrists, full of gold bracelets. Mrs. Amanda Miller, you are temporarily detained for threatening behavior and possible document forgery, the officer said. Carol screamed, trying to intervene, but was held back. Howard looked at me, nodded. Mrs. Miller, how do you wish to proceed? I looked at the messy room. I saw my daughter-in-law screaming as she was led away. I saw my weak son kneeling at my feet. I spoke, word by word, slowly. I want Carol to leave my house immediately, forbidden to return. I want my son to stay here, so he can see the consequences of his cowardice. Mrs. Davis stood up, came to me, put her hand on my shoulder. You did the right thing, Rose. God bless you. The police took Amanda to the car. Carol followed timidly, screams and curses could be heard, but no one cared. The door closed. In the room, only I, Kevin, Howard, and the silence of ashes remained. I looked up at the ceiling where the camera used to be. I didn't want revenge, I whispered, the tears finally falling. I just wanted to live like a person. The first night after the storm. The house was plunged into absolute silence. There was no more noise from the television, no more of Amanda's boisterous laughter on the phone, no sound of her heels clicking on the floor. Only the constant, impassive ticking of the wall clock. I sat on the living room sofa, where the trial of my life had taken place. This morning, I looked at the ceiling where the old camera had been. Only a small black hole remained. I had removed it. But the feeling of being watched, of being calculated, was still there. It was like a stain that clung to my mind, one that no soap could wash away. Kevin didn't go to the master bedroom. He didn't dare lie on the bed where he and Amanda had planned to put me in a nursing home. He was curled up on the rug in the corner. He didn't sleep. I heard his ragged breathing, and now and then a suppressed sob. I didn't go to cover him. Before, I would have. I would have hugged him, saying it's okay, son. Mom's here. But today I sat still. I drank tea. The tea was cold, bitter. I realized something cruel. I had recovered my assets, recovered my right to be a person, but I hadn't recovered my heart. It was broken. The next morning, lawyer Howard Crane arrived very early, bringing the cold air of the law into the house. We sat at the dining table. Kevin sat in a distant corner with his head down. Here's the situation, Howard said, opening his briefcase, his voice clear. The court has accepted the emergency petition. The freeze order on Kevin and Amanda's joint account is now in effect. He looked at Kevin with penetrating eyes. Kevin, do you know how much money your wife transferred from that account in the last 2 months? Kevin shook his head. Over $20,000, Howard read the figure. For spa accounts, luxury purchases, and transfers to Mrs. Carroll. I heard the number. I wasn't surprised. I was a bookkeeper. I had sensed the deficit, but hearing the confirmation still hurt. It was the money from the sweat of my entire life. Currently, Howard continued, Amanda is temporarily detained for investigation into document forgery and abuse. She will be released soon, but her finances have been cut off. All supplementary credit cards are blocked. And Carol, I asked. She's making a scene all over the neighborhood, saying you're crazy, that you slandered her daughter. Howard smiled contemptuously. But I sent the video evidence to the church priest and the neighborhood association president. Nobody believes her anymore. She's socially isolated. Social consequences. That was the highest price for those who live by appearances. Howard stood up, adjusted his tie. Mrs. Miller, remember my words. Do not have any contact with them alone. If they approach you, call the police immediately. Do not soften. Your kindness almost killed you. I nodded. I'll remember. At noon, there was a loud bang on the door. Open the door, Kevin. Open up for your mother. It was Carol. She couldn't get in. I had changed the gate lock that very morning. Kevin tried to get up. Stay put, I ordered. My voice wasn't loud, but it was firm enough to keep him glued to his chair. I went to the window, didn't open the door, just pulled the curtain back a little. Carol was standing in the sun, sweating. Her smudged makeup made her look more pathetic than ever. Rose, what are you doing? Are you trying to steal my son-in-law? Give me back my Amanda. I picked up the phone, called the neighborhood security gate. There is a person causing a disturbance outside my house. Please handle it. 5 minutes later, the guards arrived. They invited Carol to leave. She screamed, she cursed, but was eventually led away. I watched through the slit in the curtain. I felt a little bit of satisfaction, but mostly sadness. Why do people have to treat each other so cruelly? Kevin was still sitting there like a lost soul. It wasn't until the afternoon that he dared to speak. Mom, his voice was hoarse. I was cleaning the kitchen shelf. I didn't turn around. What do you want? Can I talk to you? I stopped my hand, put the cloth on the counter. I pulled up a chair and sat opposite him. The distance between mother and son was only the wooden table, but it felt like 2 oceans. Speak. Kevin didn't dare look at me. He looked at his wringing hands. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. An apology is worthless at this point, Kevin, I said coldly. I want to know why. Why did you nod when your wife was practicing my signature? Why did you stay silent when they were planning to put me in a nursing home? Kevin broke down crying, his shoulders shaking. I was scared, he sobbed. Amanda, she always said that without money we would suffer. She said you didn't need that much money anymore. She threatened to leave me, to leave if she got pregnant. You were afraid of losing your wife. I nodded. So you decided to sell your mother? No, I didn't think that. I just thought in the nursing home you would be taken care of. Amanda said it was a good place. You believed her. I laughed bitterly. Or you forced your mind to believe her so your conscience wouldn't bother you. Kevin fell silent. He knew I was right. Cowardice often hides behind the mask of innocence. I looked him straight in the eyes. Did you ever think if I had signed that paper, where would I die? In a cold room filled with the smell of antiseptic, surrounded by strangers, and you would never come to visit because your wife would forbid it. Did you think about that scene? I'm sorry, Mom, he bowed his head onto the table, crying like a whipped child. But I didn't comfort him. I let him cry. He needed to cry. He needed to taste the bitterness of remorse. Kevin, I said when his crying subsided. I don't need you to promise. I don't need you to swear. I need proof. He looked up, his eyes red. What proof, Mom? I'll do anything. First, give me back all my original documents that you have. Second, sign a document with the lawyer confirming that the money to buy the house is mine. Third, cut off all financial ties with Amanda. Kevin nodded quickly. I'll do it right now. That night, Amanda sent me a text message, a long message full of poisonous words. You destroyed my family. You're a cruel woman. I'm going to post on Facebook so everyone knows you psychologically abuse your daughter-in-law. You'll see. I finished reading. I felt no anger. I forwarded the message to Howard. 15 minutes later, Howard replied. Handled. I just sent a legal warning to her lawyer. If she dares to post a single lie, her parole will be revoked, and she will go back to jail immediately. She went quiet. I turned off the phone, went to my room. I took a new plastic box. I stuck a label on it with blue ink, a bookkeeper's ink. Rose's file, property and life. I put everything inside, bank statements, property deeds, passport. I locked the box. I hung the key around my neck. I looked at myself in the mirror. I was no longer the resigned Rose of yesterday. I am Rose, the woman who walked through hell and came back with hands of iron.